When people talk about World War II firepower, they always focus on the tanks, bombers and rifles. But the truth is, the most feared weapons of the war were often the ones neither side wanted to admit existed. These were the devices so brutal, so uncontrollable, or so psychologically devastating that soldiers on both sides didn't just hate them. They quietly agreed they shouldn't be used at all. Some were banned outright in the middle of the war. Some were used once and never again. And some were so terrifying that entire units would refuse to deploy them. Today, we're stepping into the shadows of World War II weapons history. The uncomfortable corner military museums avoid and textbooks skip. These are the devices that scared the users as much as the targets, and that alone tells you everything. Let's go through the 5 forbidden World War II weapons that truly terrified both sides. The first forbidden weapon is the Japanese beehive bomb, better known as the Type 99 explosive charge. This wasn't just a grenade, it was a handheld suicide blast designed to blow through tanks, bunkers, or anything else unlucky enough to be in front of it. The problem? The weapon's effective range was essentially zero. Soldiers had to run directly at a tank, jump onto it, and detonate the charge. Even the Japanese infantry, known for discipline and endurance, viewed it as a weapon of total desperation. American troops saw the remains of these devices on battlefields and immediately understood what kind of fight they were in. The United States Army labeled them inhumane by design, and even Japanese commanders quietly phased them out for being psychologically destructive to their own ranks. The second weapon both sides feared was the German ghost charge, the experimental chemical fog cartridges. These weren't traditional gas weapons. They were designed to linger low to the ground, invisible in low light, and choke out entire trenches before anyone realized what was happening. Germany tested them, produced small batches, and then abruptly halted the program. The reason was simple. Nobody could control them. Wind, humidity, terrain, everything turned these cartridges into unpredictable killers. German officers refused to deploy them, and Allied intelligence reports show that British commanders warned that if Germany ever used them, retaliation would be immediate and catastrophic. The fear alone was enough to kill the project. The third forbidden weapon was the Soviet ampulomet incendiary projector. This odd device shot glass balls filled with a sticky burning mixture. On paper, it was a light anti-tank weapon. In practice, it was a disaster. The glass spheres broke unpredictably, sometimes inside the barrel, sometimes in mid-air, and sometimes on the user. Frontline troops, well, they begged for them to be removed. Soviet commanders actually listened, and when Germany captured some early models, they didn't repurpose them. They destroyed them on the spot. Even the enemy wanted nothing to do with them. The fourth weapon was the US turtle mine, a magnetic charge meant to cling to enemy tanks. You were supposed to sneak behind a tank, slap the mine onto the engine deck and run. That was the fantasy. The reality, though, was that in combat, tanks didn't politely stop and let you approach. Dust, heat, and mud often weakened the mine's magnets, causing them to slip off and detonate prematurely. American soldiers quickly realized this weapon was more of a hazard to the operator than the enemy. Reports from Europe and the Pacific show commanders quietly ordering units to lose or discard these mines. Even when they worked, the psychological load of getting close enough to a tank made the weapon effectively forbidden. The fifth and final weapon was the Italian Red Devil, officially the Brixia Model 35 grenade launcher. Its reputation was honestly so bad that Italian soldiers traded it away, buried it, or simply refused to carry it. The launcher jammed constantly, the rounds misfired, and it had this unfortunate habit of launching grenades so weakly that they bounced back toward the shooter. When German forces took over Italian units in 1943, they confiscated almost all Brixias and destroyed them. Not repurposed, not stored, destroyed. When both sides independently decide your weapon is too dangerous to exist, well, that's the final verdict. The truth is, the most frightening weapons of World War II weren't always the biggest or loudest. They were the ones that soldiers feared using themselves. These 5 devices earned that reputation for a reason. And, understanding why tells us more about the psychology of frontline combat than any battlefield map ever could. If you want more deep-dive investigations into the forgotten corners of World War II history, subscribe to Strange History and share this video with someone who loves the truth behind the myth.